All right. Happy Friday, guys. Nice to see your names and a couple of faces up on that screen. For anybody who might have snuck in under my radar or anybody I haven't met yet, I'm Rachel, physical therapist and Pilates instructor locally here in Palo Alto, Redwood City. It's a 45-minute class. We're going to be going through kind of a full body, little warm up. We got posture work, we got shoulders, we got chest, we got core, we got glutes, a lot of glutes. And a little bit of balancing toward the end. We go through in a flow manner. So we won't be stuck on any one particular exercise for too long enough, hopefully get a little burn, especially with our glute exercises and our core exercises. But if at any point there's anything that we're going through that isn't feeling particularly great for you at any period of time, I'd expect some stretching, maybe under the arms, chest wall, tummy, in that kind of area. But if anything doesn't feel great, feel free to back off on the range. There's absolutely no judgment here. And also keep in mind, every day is a nice new adventure as far as our bodies go. So just listen to your body and trust what you're feeling. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start my timer now. We'll start standing up on our mats. Back up, make sure you guys can see me. All right, let's start up nice and tall. We'll get that posture, get that alignment going before we lie down. We're going to get those feet hip width apart. Let's settle our heels into the mat, settle the base of that big toe into the floor, and settle the base of that pinky toe into the floor. We're going to feel our arches lift up a little bit from the mat. And if your knees are locked, mine tend to lock out, soften them up a little bit. Give yourself a little shock absorption. We're going to take a big breath in through the nose and a big breath out through the mouth. And as you exhale, let your body weight sink down toward the feet. Your arches are a nice, stable base of support. We're going to let them support our bodies. We're going to breathe in and out again, nice and quietly. And I want you to think about having a string at the crown of your head that's pulling up to the ceiling. At the same time, that string is dropping a plumb line down right between those ankles. Nice, stable base of support. Big breath in, arms come up and overhead. We're going to exhale, bringing those arms out to a Y. So the fingertips are reaching out toward the corners of the ceiling. And we're going to drop our shoulder blades down. So we're making a nice little angle from that wrist all the way down to the armpit, all the way down toward that opposite hip. Feel those shoulder blade muscles engage as we drop the blades down a bit. We're going to draw the belly in toward the spine, make a little corset of muscles work right around that waistline. And let's take some side bends here. Inhale up and exhale over. We're going to try to keep that belly drawn back. That belly button's our pivot point. The rib cage is lifting up and over a stable lower body. And we'll feel the feet pressing a little bit asymmetrically into the floor as we take our body weight and shift it. We're moving our center of gravity just a little bit over that base of support around those arches. Let's sway one more time to each side, up and over and up and over. Let's reach our fingertips to the ceiling. We'll take those arms out shoulder height, and let's make some small circles. Reach those fingertips out toward the wall on either side. Reach those collarbones away from the middle of the body. Warm up those deltoids, those shoulder muscles. Circle for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Hold in there, big breath in. Reset, draw that belly into the spine a little further, and we'll take our arms down by our sides. Shake those shoulders out just a touch, and we're going to take our hands right to our midsection. Heels of the hands are going to be right above those hip bones, right just shy of that waistline in front. We're going to point our fingertips in so they're resting between that belly button and our pubic bone. If we gently press our hands into our midsections, we'll feel a little stopping point where those muscles are. Let's shift the weight toward the toes and toward the heels. Keep the whole foot on the floor. Keep those toes down, keep those heels down, even if it doesn't let you go forward and back very far. We're finding our base of support where we feel nice and solid and safe. And as we hit those end ranges, you should feel a little bit of muscle activation, a little bit of change in what's going on beneath your fingertips, beneath those palms. Let's shift the weight toward the center again, toward those arches. We'll take our fingertips and move them to the front of the waistline and the thumbs to the back of the waistline. We're going to press our thumbs and fingers toward each other and shift the weight from foot to foot. Take it side to side. We'll feel those muscles poke into our fingertips just by virtue of reaction to the floor, reaction to being upright versus gravity. And now let's make some little circles around that base. Again, toes stay on the floor, heels stay on the floor. Feel those muscles turn on and off in a different sequence as we roll through different points at that base. And then we'll circle the other way. That string of the head is still reaching up toward the ceiling. We're still drawing our belly slightly back and slightly up toward the back side of our chunk, supporting the body. All right, we're going to shift our weight toward our toes, spread those toes a little bit apart from each other, press them firmly into the mat. As we come forward to the balls of the feet, those muscles in the abdomen are going to feel nice and taut. We're going to lift our heels up off the floor, hover just a touch, just an inch or so off the ground with those heels. and feel those muscles in the trunk tighten just again by virtue of being upright and working against gravity. Hold for 3, for 2, and for 1. We'll take our weight right back to the floor. Shift over the middle of the foot. We'll take the hands down, shake those knees out. We're going to prepare to get down onto our mat. We'll be on hands and knees first. So if you want a little towel roll or if you want to double your mat up to give you a little more padding on those knees, go ahead and do so. We'll make that quarter turn and walk ourselves back toward the back edge of our mat. Let's widen up those feet, maybe a little bit wider apart than our shoulders. Soften the knees, sending that tailbone down just behind the back of that mat. And we're going to tip our bodies forward, moving just from those hips. Crown of the head comes forward, tailbone comes back. Pause when you first start to feel a little stretch behind those thighs. Hold it there. Maybe bend the knees if you feel like you need to take any pressure off the back. We're going to now take our hands right to our hips. Squeeze those shoulder blades together a bit. Support that back. Shift your weight foot to foot. We should feel those glutes, those hips, maybe even those hamstrings working a little bit as we push the floor away, moving side to side. We're going to be working these muscles quite a bit as we move through class. Shift for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Taking that body right back over the center. We're going to bring our hands back by our trunk, squeeze the blades, and then let's float those arms down till they're vertical. Shake them around a little bit. Make sure you feel nice and supported. Let's row. Belly stays drawn back. We're going to squeeze those shoulder blades, elbows come in by our trunk, hands come toward our sides. Release those hands toward the floor. Repeat. Squeeze and row. Release. We can look down toward the floor. You're welcome to look toward the screen. As long as we keep that head and neck in line with our body. Squeeze for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Hold that row. Blades stay squeezed. The elbows are right by the body. We're going to press those triceps, straighten the elbows, reach those fingertips down to the wall behind us. Bend the elbows, press and straighten. Squeeze and press. Squeeze and press. Here's 4, 3. Feel the backs of the arms doing some work. 2, and 1. Let's take those hands toward the floor. Big breath in, and as we exhale, fingertips come down, bend the knees as much as you need to get those hands on the floor. And we'll walk ourselves forward, getting those knees down to the mat as well. We're going to keep our toes turned under, so we're pressing the balls of the feet into the floor. Those big toes might be getting a little stretch here. Shoulders and wrists are lined up with each other, right on top of each other. Let's rock the bottom back toward those heels, and then we'll come nice and upright, shoulders and wrists aligned. Rock the bottom back, take it upright. Again, rocking back, take it upright, and let's make some circles around that base of support. Push the floor away with your hands. Let that body rotate. Again, we're circling around those wrists, around those knees. Pause with those wrists and shoulders lined up, and let's circle the other way. Trunk stays nice and still as we move. Twice more this direction. And last one, coming right back up to neutral. We're going to turn the tops of the feet to the floor, roll through cats and cows, curl that pubic bone toward the breastbone, and then release. Pubic bone comes back down toward the floor, tailbone to the ceiling. Breastbone can come forward. Again, reverse it. Curl the cat, release to cow. One more time, curl to cat, release to cow. Take it back to neutral. Upper body stay still. We're going to wag that tail side to side, bringing a hip to a shoulder, other hip to the other shoulder. Nice gentle side bends, working those trunk muscles. Take those hips back to the middle. Our feet come together, knees come apart. Draw the bottom back towards your heels, and let's walk our hands or slide our hands toward the front of our mat. Child's pose stretch. We're going to lower the forehead to the floor. Bend your elbows if you need to put a little more slack back in the system. Regardless of whether those elbows are straight or bent, we're going to think about wrapping our shoulder blades forward around the front of the body. That should give you a nice stretch under the arms. Again, go at a range that's working for you. Hold it there. As we breathe in, we should feel a nice stretch across the mid-back. Big breath in. Breathing out, we'll bend those elbows if they're not already bent. Take the forearms to the floor. Shift the body weight over those forearms, and let's take our legs back behind the body. We're going to rest just above those kneecaps, keeping that core engaged. Belly's drawn back toward the spine. Hold it here. Squeeze those blades together behind the back, letting the trunk draw toward the floor, and then reverse, press it the other way. Squeeze, press, squeeze, and press. Repeat again. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press toward the floor. Take a big breath in. As we breathe out, we're going to make our way down to the floor, turning onto our backs. Let's rest the back of the head, the middle back between those shoulder blades, and that sacrum right below that waistline down into the floor. Knees are bent and heels are lined right up with those sit bones. There's a little space between our knees, a little space between our hips. Let's float those hands about 45 degrees away from the center of the body and press the backs of the shoulders into the floor. As we do so, we're going to nod the chin gently toward the neck and think about widening the collarbones away from the middle of the body. That'll give us a nice opening through the front of the chest, those pec muscles. We're going to keep them nice and still, and let's picture that pelvic clock. We're going to picture a clock face on our trunk and abdomen and pelvis, 12 by the breastbone, 6 by that pubic bone, 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on either side. Keeping the rest of the body nice and still. Let's pull that pubic bone toward 12 o'clock, curl that pelvis. Keep the glutes relaxed if you can. Let your abdominals do the work. Release the pubic bone down, tailbone toward the floor, 6 o'clock. Curl to 12, release to 6. Keep that chin nice and neutral, nice and still. Eyes are facing the ceiling. One more time, curl to 6, or curl to 12 rather, release to 6. Take that pelvis to neutral, and now we'll rock from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. The hip closest to the screen stays down on the floor. Opposite hip lifts up, rotating that lower body toward the screen. Reverse, repeating to the other side for 9 o'clock. You'll feel your heels press a little bit unevenly into the floor in order to keep those thighs level as that pelvis moves. Let's take ourselves right back to neutral. Draw that belly down. We're going to pull our knees up to tabletop position. Hold them there. Let's take our hands to the front of our thighs. Gently give a little pressure from the hands to the thighs and the thighs to the hand. Feel that as we keep building our pressure gently, we're keeping that belly drawn down. We're going to feel all those muscles working from the pubic bone all the way up toward the lower part of that breastbone and lower part of the breastbone and the lower part of the lowest ribs. Keeping that pressure, let's inhale, straightening our knees. Exhale and back to tabletop. Good. Inhale, straighten. Exhale to tabletop. Repeat again, wiggling through at your own pace. We want to find a range we can move through where we can keep that tailbone nice and still and that trunk in the same position on the floor as those legs move. Straighten the legs as best we can. Maybe we glue those ankles together, and let's take our hands in front of us, hovering them slightly off the floor. Keep that belly drawn down. Keep the head and neck nice and still, and decide if you need a little kickstand. If we need a little more support, we come back to 90 degrees, or we add a kickstand by bringing one foot back to the floor. Nod the chin, lifting the back of the head up off the floor. That'll be a nice progression. If this is too much, take that head right back down. Let's pat our hands up and down, inhaling for 5 counts and exhaling. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, breathe it out. Flip those palms over. Let's press the air up to the ceiling. Widen those collarbones again as we breathe. Breathe it in, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhale. One more time, breathe it in. Breathe it out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Turn those palms toward the floor, upper body and head lower down to the mat if they've been lifted. Let's pull our knees back to tabletop, and we're going to take the one farthest from the screen, draw it all the way into the chest as we slide our other leg out nice and straight along the floor. Hold it in here. Give that knee a nice pull. We're going to tighten up that straight leg, tighten up the thigh, hold it there. Keeping that core engaged, see if we can hover that straight leg up off the mat. Feel the tummy engage a little bit more. That trunk is engaging a bit more on that straight leg side. Let's keep it nice and still as the leg comes out and in. Draw a horizontal line on the wall in front of you. Keep it going. Good. Stretch that leg forward, hold it here. Switch them up. Pull that other knee in, give it a nice hug. Slide the opposite leg out along the mat, tightening up the front of that thigh. Hold it nice and still. Keeping the belly engaged, we'll hover that newly lifted leg. Stretch the toes forward toward the wall. Keeping the hand on the hip to monitor, we'll take that leg side to side. Pelvis is staying still, belly button points toward the ceiling. And that trunk stays as still as we can keep it. Try not to let that waistline move along with the leg. Stretch that straight leg forward, hold it there. If you'd like to nod the chin and lift the back of the head, you're welcome to. And we'll speed those legs up. We're going to pull the other one into the center, press the opposite one forward. Keep it hovered. Pull to the center, press forward. Repeat at your own pace. Pull and press. And pull and press. Belly stays drawn in as we switch. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hug those knees into the chest, keeping the core engaged. We'll lower the upper body. Head rests on the mat, and let's rock ourselves side to side, keeping those knees drawn into the chest. Take them back to the middle, roll those shoulders back and down a couple times. Anchor him down toward the mat, and keeping that knee bent that's farthest from the screen, we're going to slide the opposite leg out straight. Hold it there. Flip your grip, hold on behind the thigh, straighten that leg up to the ceiling, and we'll flex and point. Let that hamstring, let that calf, let all that connective tissue in the back of the leg lengthen out. And we'll point our toes. Keep a hold of the back of that thigh. Let's draw the core in a little bit more. Lift that leg up off the floor. Hover that bottom leg where it is. And let's draw some small circles on the wall in front of us with that lowered leg. Reach those toes out. Make that leg come long out of the socket. And we'll circle it the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that heel to the floor. Keep your lifted leg right where it is as we take our arms to the ceiling. We'll anchor our blades down for a little support. Belly stays nice and still. And let's take that lifted leg side to side. Move within the range where we can keep that pelvis nice and still. But that being said, don't be afraid to test it a little. Maybe we take it out to the side. You'll know when it's a little too far. The body will want to follow that leg. Good. One more time. And let's make some circles. Reach those toes all the way up to your ceiling. It's okay if that knee is bent. If it is, we're picturing a pencil coming out of that kneecap. Drawing that same circle. Pause at the top. Let's take it the other way. Knee is bent or straight. Here's 3, 2, and 1. Let's bend that knee up. We'll hug it into the chest and just stir it in its socket a little bit. Take it side to side. Give it a hug in the middle. Big breath in. Engage that core. We'll switch up our legs. Pull the other one in. Slide that one we just stretched all the way out along the floor, keeping that quad nice and active. We'll hang on behind the thigh and let that other leg stretch up to the ceiling. Flex and point. Good. Pointing the toes, we'll engage the core a little further. Hover that supporting leg up off the mat and let's circle it. Reaching the toes toward the wall. Small motions. Circle the other way. Toes reach as far away from that hip as we can get them. Here's 3, 2, 1. Let's lower that leg to the floor. Hold it there. Keep that belly right pointed up to the ceiling and those hips as well. And let's float our arms up. Draw the shoulder blades, drop that chin down, and draw the belly a little closer to the spine. Let's take that lifted leg side to side. Again, test that range. Don't be afraid to do so. Hip bones are pointed directly up to the ceiling. Again, if you take it a little far, no big deal. Pull it back the next round. Let's make some circles. Again, we could start off small. We could have that knee bent. Picture that pencil coming right out of that kneecap. You could also make that circle big as you want. Pause at the top, breathe it in. Breathing out, circle the other way. Here's 4, 3, 2. Last one. Let's hang on behind that thigh again. Roll the shoulders back and down. And as we draw the belly down, we can nod the chin, float that head just a touch up off the floor. Let's switch our legs, lift the other one up. Support the other side as it comes down. Lift and switch. Lift and switch. Repeat here for 8, for 7, 6, 5, last 4, good job. 3, 2, and 1. Both knees pull in, give them a nice little hug, and we'll bring the head and neck down to the mat. Let's rock side to side and look over one shoulder and the other. Keep that head moving. Coming back to the middle, we'll roll those shoulders back and down. Wiggle through that hip we just stretched out. We'll pull those knees together and let's hang on to our kneecaps as we bring our legs back up to that tabletop position. 90 degrees at the hips, belly stays engaged, 90 degrees at those knees. Big breath in, exhaling those arms come to the ceiling. We're going to keep our core engaged as we take both arms back overhead. Reach them to that wall behind as far as we can go without popping that breastbone up off our supported surface. Inhale, arms to the ceiling. Exhale them back. Again, inhale, arms to the ceiling. Exhale, open them up back behind us. Find where the wall and ceiling meet behind you. We're going to leave those arms right there. Probably about a 120-degree angle here, maybe a little bit more. Hold them there. Keep the chin down, the shoulder blades and that breastbone anchored down in toward the mat. And we're going to keep our bellies engaged as we press one foot forward to the wall. Inhale it to the center. Exhale and switch. Repeat through at your own pace. Maybe moving into a bicycle type motion. Take your time here. Feel free to extend that leg as far as you can through the range, keeping that core nice and engaged. We could challenge this further by taking those hands back toward the floor behind us, or by stretching those heels forward a little closer to that mat as we go. Conversely, we could take those arms to the ceiling for a little more support. We'll bicycle through for 4. For 3, this is a new one for class today. And for 1, let's bring those legs right back up to tabletop, flex the feet. Toes are pulling toward those knees and that belly draws toward the spine. We're gonna lift one heel, lower one heel down to the floor and lift it back up. Lower the other one, lift it back up. Lower them both if you can, one if it's too much. Inhale them back up to the center. Repeat that sequence, lower and lift, lower and lift. Try for both heels down, belly stays engaged. Inhale up. Let's repeat that one more time through, lower and lift, both heels down, both heels up. One more time through, lower and lift, lower and lift. Now both heels are going to control all the way down to the floor. Once those heels touch, we'll take the toes down to the mat as well. Release those abdominals and let's float our arms down to the mat. We're going to bring those feet and knees together and rock the knees side to side toward the screen and away. Press that upper body into the floor. Widen out that chest, let it stretch and melt down into our supporting surface. Bring those knees right back up to the center. We're going to inch our feet a tiny bit away from each other and try to keep those shins as close to vertical as we can get them. We're going to press our hands down into the mat right by our sides. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, engage the belly toward the spine. Press through those heels. Let's lift to bridge. Holding it there, we're going to picture reaching our kneecaps all the way forward to that wall in front. Hold that length through the front of the thighs as we lower down. Let's repeat that bridge, pressing through the heels, lifting to that lengthening point through the front of the thighs. Keep it going. If you tend to cramp through the hamstrings, lift your toes up. That'll bias us a little bit more toward those buttocks. Keep it a little bit more out of the backs of the thighs. We're going to hold our next bridge up at the top. Keep those glutes engaged. Hips are lifted. Take it up and down on the toes. There's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's squeeze and press those heels down to the floor, hips to the ceiling. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Big breath in. Exhale, bridge it down. Release at the bottom. Let those glutes go and rock those knees side to side. Keep that going. Here's 3. Last 2. And 1. Let's take those knees up to the center. Reset. Big breath in. Exhale, belly to spine. Press up into bridge. Hold. Keep those big toes pressed into the floor as we take both knees out, away from the center of the body, back into the middle. Exhale away. Inhale, center. Exhale away. Inhale, center. Repeat for 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Knees come forward. Big breath in. Holding there. As we exhale, one knee comes out and in, and then the other. Hips stay lifted. Repeat. Here's 8, 7. Come down a little bit if you feel any strain in your back. Here's 4, 3. Last 2. And 1. Knees come forward. Big breath in. Exhale. Control those hips down to the mat. Good job releasing those glutes at the bottom. Give those knees a little hug into the chest and we'll rock side to side. We're going to finish up bridging with a march. Our big goal here is to keep that pelvis nice and stable as we march our legs, as we lift and transfer the load from one to the other. Heels press down, belly draws to the spine, big breath in. Exhaling, let's press up into our bridge and hold. We're gonna press our hands nice and firmly into the mat and march through tabletop. Press the heel through the floor as the other one lifts up. Good job. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Keep it going. If you'd like to challenge it differently, extend your knee, bringing those toes toward the ceiling. Don't be afraid to use those arms. Press those shoulders into the floor. Let your lats, let your side muscles help you out. Keep it going. March for 4. For 3. Final 2. And 1. Press that heel into the floor. Big breath in. Exhale. Control that body down to the mat. Releasing the glutes at the bottom. Let's curl through that pelvic clock. 12 to 6. 12 to 6. Take it back to neutral. Rock those hips from 3 to 9, side to side. Take them back to the middle. We're going to cross the leg closest to the screen over the other one, ankle to knee. Holding it there, we could draw the other one up for our figure 4. You take as much slack out of the system as you're comfortable doing so. If you can't lift up without strain, leave that foot on the floor. We're going to rock over to the side closest to our holding knee. So farthest rock away from that crossed over leg. Take it back to the middle. Let's unwind. Do the other side, ankle to knee. Knee presses out. Take up the slack if you have any left. Pull that knee into the chest. And we'll rock the body away from that crossed over side. Feel that hip open up on that outside leg, that crossed over leg. Let's take it back to the middle. Unwind those legs. We'll give them a hug and let's take our feet to the floor. We'll take our hands right to our hip bones now. Let those elbows rest by the sides. Keeping the belly engaged. We're going to lower one leg down all the way to the mat, straighten out that knee. And then let's see, keeping that pelvis neutral. Let's see if we can slide the other leg out all the way. If you feel a strain in your back, go ahead and bend up those knees. Keeping those abs tight, we're going to keep the arms up to the ceiling. The belly's drawing back toward the spine and slightly up toward those ribs. Let's extend those arms back overhead, reach those fingertips toward the back wall. As the fingertips reach back, our toes reach forward. Nice long line. Let's keep that belly engaged and we're going to lift one foot up and down and then the other. If those knees are bent, this is like a march. The big thing we want to focus on is keeping that belly engaged, that breastbone down, and that middle back between those shoulder blades pressed into the floor. Switch out those legs. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press those feet into the floor. We'll reach those arms back overhead as far as we can. Take a big breath in. Exhaling, we'll take our arms to the ceiling. Let's arc them forward toward the floor. And we're going to make our way over to hands and knees. Again, if you need extra padding, figure it out. We got either a towel roll or double that mat over to give yourself a little more give under those tops of the shins. We'll make our way right up to that all fours position. Wrists and shoulders, knees and hips are lined up. Curl through cat and release to cow. Try to start, at least initiate this motion in that lower back and pelvic area. Let the upper body go along for the ride. We're going to try to keep those shoulder blades engaged and press forward toward the floor. Let's take that body right back to neutral and we'll squeeze and press through our shoulder blades. Little shoulder blade push-ups, squeeze and press. Keep those elbows in the same position. They might be a little bit bent, that's okay, depending on how much mobility we have through that upper body right now. They could be all the way straight if you feel nice and supported. Press those blades toward the floor. Let's try some more, this time in single arm. So we'll shift away from the screen, take that other hand right to the thigh. And again, we'll squeeze and press. Squeeze and press, keep it going. As we do each side, pay attention to symmetry or any lack thereof. Sometimes we all have a dominant side. Sometimes we have a side that was operated on that might be a little bit different, a little more challenged, require a little more attention. Let's switch arms. Opposite hand comes down, press through that blade. We'll take our other hand, reach it to the thigh. Shoulders are squared off to the floor as we press and squeeze through that blade. If at any point the single arm's uncomfortable, feel free to bring your other hand back down. Twice more. Press. We'll take our second hand to the floor. Let's reach that arm closest to the screen, out to the side toward the screen, and turn your breastbone toward the screen. Switch it up. Opposite arm floats out. Follow that arm with your breastbone. Let's repeat through here. Reach for 4. Switch it up for 3. Reach toward that screen for 2. And the opposite direction. Last one. Arms come down and let's rock forward and back. Bottom to heels. Pull back upright. Give those wrists and shoulders a little bit of a reprieve as we come back toward the bottom, toward the heels. One more time. Rock it back. Take it right back up to all 4s. We're going to re-engage that belly toward the spine. And let's take that hand closest to the screen. Tap it to your opposite shoulder. Repeat with the other side. Alternate through. Pay attention to what you feel kind of turning on and turning off in terms of where you feel pressure, what muscles you feel activating, besides just feeling the pressure through the heels of the hands. If you want to take this further, we walk those hands a little bit farther forward toward the front of the mat. Those hips are opening up. We're getting a little more core the closer to a plank that we come. Highest challenge here, right up in tall plank. 2 more wherever you are. Nice effort. One more time on each side. Hands come down, knees come down if they've been lifted. Let's take our feet together, knees apart, rock the bottom back toward the heels and drop those forearms to the floor. Shake out those wrists a bit. We could clasp them together, roll them in circles. Roll them the other way. Let's come right back to the middle. We'll pop ourselves right back up to all 4s. And keeping that belly and those shoulders facing the floor, we'll take one leg back and the opposite arm forward. Stretch into that long diagonal. Hold it there. Good. Switch it up. Leg back, arm forward. Switch again. Let's switch again. If we want to make this more challenging, we could move to same side arm and leg lifts. Shift away from that screen. Leg comes back. See if we can take that same side arm overhead. Switch it up. Good job. One more time on the other side. All right, coming right back to hands and knees. Let's keep our knees apart from each other. We'll take those forearms down to the mat. We could clasp the hands together if you'd like. They could be pressed into the floor parallel to each other as well. Or if you want to support your neck, one fist comes right on top of the other, rest that forehead on them. Wherever you are, we're going to tighten that belly, engage it, keep that breastbone facing the floor. Knees stay bent. Let's take one leg up and down. Try to lift within the range where you can keep that trunk and pelvis nice and still. Good. One more time, press that leg up and hold it there. Thigh stays still, straighten and bend that knee. Hamstring curl for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Flex the foot, pulse to the ceiling. 8, 7, 6. Feel that glute working. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Float that knee back down. Shift the weight toward the screen or toward the other side. Opposite leg comes up. Keep that knee bent. Core stays engaged. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. One more time. Good. Lift and hold. Keep that thigh still. Straighten and bend through a hamstring curl. Here's 4, 3,
Oh,
2,
yes.
and 1.
Hi.
All right, let's
Are
bend
they
that
over
knee.
there?
Flex that foot, pulse to the ceiling. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower that knee back down. Feet come together, knees come apart. We're going to press that bottom toward the heels and walk our hands toward the front of the mat. We can widen those arms out so one hand touches each side of that mat. And let's lower that forehead to the floor. Big breath in. Exhaling, roll those shoulder blades forward toward the mat.
Yeah, I told you they were coming today.
Let's walk our hands toward the screen. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, we'll walk them the other way. Pausing hand over hand. Again, big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to come forward. We'll drop those forearms. Let's shift our weight over them. And we're going to take our legs back behind the body, just like we did at the beginning of class. We're resting on those upper thighs with that belly drawn in. Press your shoulder blades to the floor. And let's try to keep that low back supported. If you feel like it's too tough to keep that back supported with the upper body extended, you are welcome to draw your elbows in by your sides and rest right down on those hands. Okay, 2 position options. We're going to hold here, keeping the core engaged, whether your trunk is up or down. Bend the heel towards your bottom, straighten it, and switch. Stretch out the front of those thighs as we bend those knees. You are also welcome to speed it up. Kick one heel twice toward the bottom and switch. And kick and kick. Repeat. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's straighten those legs out. Big breath in. As we exhale, we're going to push ourselves back up to all fours. We're going to do one more set of cats and cows. 3 repetitions through. Curl to cat. Release to cow. One final time, curl and release. Let's take it right back to neutral. We're going to peel ourselves up to tall kneeling. Roll those shoulders back and down a few times. And let's make that quarter turn and face our screen. If you do need to add more padding to be up in that tall kneel, double that mat over or add your towel roll, whatever works best. All right, we're going to get those hands right to our hips. Knees are hip width apart. Let's curl that pelvis, pubic bone toward breastbone, lengthening out through those thighs. We're going to hold here and we're going to sway that upper body slightly back toward the wall behind us and then come up nice and tall. Exhale, lean it back. Inhale, up tall. One more time. Exhale, lean it back. Inhale, up tall, keeping those hips nice and level. Shift the weight to one side. We're going to extend that opposite leg out to the side, either right in line with your other knee or slightly in front if you feel like you're going to cramp through your hip. Okay. Level off those hips a bit. Feel that inner thigh stretch out on the straight leg side. And let's hinge that trunk forward, hip front bend from the hips. Inhale, up tall. One more time. Hinge it forward. Inhale up, arms come out to the side, and let's take a side bend toward that bent knee. And we'll inhale up and over toward that straight leg. Side bend and reach. Bring it up and over. One more time, side bend, reach. We're gonna hold it there and pulse that straight leg up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, nice job. Take it up and over to the other side, reaching toward that wall. All right, let's come up tall, hands come right back to the hips. Switch it up. Take that other leg out, either right in line with the legs or forward of the body. Drop into that squared off hip position, lengthening out through that inner thigh. And let's forward bend, hinge from the hips. Inhale up tall. Exhale and hinge. Inhale up tall. Arms come out, breathing in, and exhale, side bend. Reach. Take it up and over. And side bend, reach. Keep that core engaged. Take it up and over. One more time. Side bend, reach. We're going to hold it here and pulse. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's come up nice and tall. Come back to that tall kneeling position, both legs on the floor. We're going to take our palms down, flip them toward the screen. And with that core engaged, squeeze your blades. Take those hands back behind the body. We're going to pulse the hands toward the wall behind us. Here's 8, 7. Feel that chest open up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Big breath in. Exhale, arms come down. Let's make our way all the way down onto our sides. Rest on that bottom arm. Lift up that waistline. Keep that tummy nice and active. Top hand comes to the floor. Let's lift those knees up. Lower them down. Lift them up and lower. Lift and lower. One more time. Lift and lower. Bottom knee presses into the floor. Top knee comes up and down. Pelvis stays facing the screen. Last 2. Last 1. Knees come down. Feet lift up and stay there. Lower the feet back down. Everything else stays nice and still. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift those feet and hold. Press that top knee up and down again for 4. For 3. For 2. For 1. Top leg stays where it is. Bottom foot comes down. Knee comes up on that top leg till it lines up with your foot. We're going to keep that knee right where it is. Take the toes down. Lift them back up. 3 more. 2. And 1. Right back to that hip height position. Bottom knee stays down. Bottom foot comes up to touch the top toes. Twice more. Last 1. Bottom leg comes down. Top leg starts right where it is. Knee comes up and down. Here's 4. 3. 2. and 1. Hold it where it is. We're going to straighten our bottom leg out. Top toes come to the floor. We'll take that top knee down and up for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Straighten that top leg out. Bring it up and down. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift back to hip height. Swing it forward and back. Forward and back. Twice more. Last one. Keep the leg back behind the body. Toes come down. Up and down in front. Up and down behind. Up and down in front. Last 2. Last 1. Touch them up. Line up that top leg with the body. Bottom leg comes up and down. Good. 2 more. Last 1. Take them down. Bend up those knees. Pat out your hip. Nice job. Let's take ourselves up and over to the other side. Home stretch. Rest again on that bottom arm. Let's line those heels up with our sit bones, and we'll press our top hand into the mat as we engage that core. Knees lift up. Take them down. Lift and lower. Twice more. Lift and lower. Bottom knee stays down. Top knee presses up and down. Pelvis stays still. 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down. Hold them there. Keep that waistline lifted. Both feet lift up. Lower down. 3, 2, and 1. Lift those feet. Hold them there. Again, we press that top knee up and down. Twice more. Last one. Knees come down. Top leg stays still. Bottom leg comes down. Bring that top knee up to the same height as your foot. Top toes come down and up. Lower and lift. Twice more. Last one. Hold that top leg still. Bottom foot comes up and down. 3, 2, and 1. Knees come down. Lift that whole top leg up and down. Keeping that shin level. Last 2. Last one. Bring that leg to hip height. Straighten the bottom leg out. Top toes come to the bottom knee. Knee comes down and up for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Straighten that top leg out. Take it up and down. Lift and lower. Twice more. Lift and lower. Forward and back. Forward and back. Press your bottom leg into the floor. Last time. Forward and back. Toes touch down behind. Arc up and forward. Take them back. Take them forward. Last 2. Last 1. Lift that top leg back up to hip height. Bottom one comes up and down. There's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Feet come down. Bend up those knees. Pat out your hip, and let's turn to our backs. Line those heels up with those sit bones. We're going to cross one leg over the other. Pull it up into the chest if you can. Take a big breath. Breathe it out. Unwind them. Switch it up. Opposite knee pulls in. Big breath in. Breathing out, we can unwind, hug those knees into the chest, and we'll bring our feet to the floor. Let's turn ourselves over to hands and knees and prepare for making our way up to standing. Let's do a cat. Reverse to a cow. One more time. Curl to cat. Reverse to cow. Taking it back to the middle, we'll turn our toes under. Let's press ourselves over to the flat side of our feet. We're going to get our weight right over those ankles before we stand. Let's come to the center. We'll face that screen. And let's roll those shoulders back for 4, for 3, 2, and 1. Let's soften up those knees. We're going to shift our weight to one side and shift our weight to the other. Feel those hips kick in. Good job. We just worked those hips quite a bit. Should feel real engaged as we come right upright. All right, coming right to the center. Let's stand up nice and tall. We'll bring our hands down and those feet together. Stand up right over that nice narrow base of support. We're going to reach the string of the head all the way up, string at the top of the head, all the way up to the ceiling. Roll those shoulders back and down for 4, for 3, for 2, And for 1. Let's take those arms up and overhead, press the palms together as we breathe in and exhale into our center. All right. Well, I hope you guys had a good time today. I hope you have a really nice weekend and look forward to seeing you next time.